पीछे सर सामने आपके बच्चन सर सर सेंटर
I request Honourable Chief Guest, Honourable Minister of State for Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, Ms. Amitabh Patel, Dr. Poonam Ketupal Singh, Regional Director, WHO South Indian Region, and Shri Amitabh Bachchan to kindly sign the pledge board and show the support for the cause, please.
चलो पीछे हो जाओ छोड़ दो ज़्यादा प्लीज थोड़ा पैसे थोड़ा एक मिनट मैं हट जाऊँ आपसे
जाने दीजिए
May I request our distinguished dignitaries to kindly be seated on the stage, please. Ms. Amitabh Patel, Honourable Minister of State, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. Amitabh Bachchan, Dr. Poonam Ketupal Singh, Regional Director, WHO South Indian Region. Dr. Jagdish Prasad, Director General Health Services, Government of India. Dr. Hank Benningham, WHO Representative to India, Dr. S. Sari, Director Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences, Dr. Godfrey Henshaw, Director Hepatitis, For Health and Family Welfare, Ms. Amitabh Patel, our Honourable Chief Guest. Let's give her a warm round of applause as she comes to the stage. Let's give her a warm round of applause and let's give everyone a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. May I request our respected members of the press and media to kindly now take their places, please, in the hall so that we can commence with the function, please. Thank you.
Sorry, madam. How are you? Please, my name is English.
Thank you very much, distinguished dignitaries on the stage. I now have the privilege in requesting Dr. Godfrey Henshaw, Director HIV Hepatitis, WHO Headquarters, to kindly give his opening address, please.
Thank you. Excellencies and honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. It is my distinct pleasure and honor to address you at the World Hepatitis Day global event here in India. I bring greetings.
Apply for a visa to Middle East or maybe any country, you will not get a visa because your hepatitis B positive. Are we not discriminating? We need to stop it today. Millions of people have their marriages broken. And I remember how I came in hepatitis B field, and I remember you might have listened to this story. In 1990, I saw a person whom I treated for hepatitis B and we failed. He was a senior bureaucrat. He had 2 kids, 5-year and 7-year-old. 4 or 5 years.
Honorable Minister of State, Anupriya Patel ji, distinguished guests on the dais, distinguished guests in the audience, ladies and gentlemen, do pardon my voice. I am trying to overcome a viral infection of cold. I want to thank the organizers today for having invited me here today on this very auspicious occasion when we celebrate the 28th of July as Hepatitis Day. There have been many debates and discussions throughout the day, through various forums and through various speakers. The speakers before me, who are more qualified to talk about hepatitis, have given you many statistics, so it will be futile for me to dwell on them again. I'm here today, ladies and gentlemen, to merely reiterate to you that I am absolutely committed to the cause of hepatitis. And if my face and my voice can propagate what we need to do towards removal, or at least the detection of this terrible disease, I am there with all the agencies that are now committed to work towards this cause. How this all started has a small story which was hinted upon by Dr. Serene in his very emotional appeal here, when he talked about an example of a porter who was denied a job in the Middle East because of the fact that he was diagnosed with hepatitis B. I raised my finger not just to the fact that I happened to play the role of a porter in one of my films, but in 1982, ironically, for the same film, during the course of an action sequence, I injured myself, and there were many bottles of blood that were required for my recovery, including bottles of blood and platelets. It amounted to almost 60. And we had around 200 donors, and I thanked them for it, because had it not been for their contribution, I may not have been standing here in front of you today. But unfortunately, one of the donors was carrying the Australian antigen hepatitis B virus, which went into my system. From 1982 onwards, I recovered from the terrible accident, and I thank the doctors of Breach Candy Hospital for my recovery. But during the year 2000, and some years into it, through my family doctor, Dr. Barwe, through a random test that I went through, he discovered that I had indeed been infected by hepatitis B, and that 75% of my liver had been damaged. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you operating on just 25% of my liver. What is known in medical terms is I am a patient of acute cirrhosis of the liver, something that is normally associated with people and alcohol, but I am a non-alcoholic. I just felt that if I was able to propagate to the masses of this country through what I had been through personally, then it would be a very noble cause that I was taking up. I also took up the cause of tuberculosis because, unfortunately or fortunately, I'm also a tuberculosis survivor. In the year 2000, I was, quite by accident and by Dr. Barve, diagnosed for tuberculosis in my spine. And we went through a course of medication and I recovered. I want to reiterate here and say strongly that people that are unaware of having themselves diagnosed regularly, religiously, may perhaps, as Dr. Barve had just mentioned in his speech, be carrying a virus which they are unaware of. Diabetes is another ailment that I work for. Diabetes, hepatitis, they are all silent killers. We are unaware of their presence in our body. And before we know it, it is too late for any kind of action to be taken. My appeal to all of you, and through the various programs that I hope will be designed by the World Health Organization, by the Government of India, I shall be able to propagate this fact that it is most important that all of us become aware of the fact that we need to be going in for some kind of diagnosis, some kind of tests, to at least know what our body contains, and if we are unfortunate enough to have this virus within us, then to assure you that a treatment is there, it can be done, and you can be cured. There are wondrous drugs that are coming out now, and I was speaking to our dear friends here who were talking to me about some modern drugs that have been now brought out in Switzerland, where the repair to the liver and perhaps repair to the disease is possible. I'm very happy to hear that. I hope that I shall be getting some of those doses myself because I need it. And I also want to say that there are various programs that the government does, and I'm happy that there are very capable and able representatives of the Government of India here with us today. We need to have a very concerted program, ma'am, to put the program of hepatitis on a more definitive basis. There are lots of budgets, and there has been talk before me on how much money needs to be put. Dr. Serene put it very ably, comparing the amount of budgets required for roads and for using just 1% of that for hepatitis. But really, we need to have a designated amount of budget put across towards hepatitis so that we can all work towards its eradication. The government of Maharashtra has a wonderful scheme where they help and work along with what is commonly known as the Anganwadi. These are housewives that help in the delivery process when women are pregnant and about to deliver. I think it would be a wonderful idea, and if there are people from the government of Maharashtra here today, if they can include this process of how to educate these Anganwadis in hepatitis and give them the opportunity that when they give and help a lady at their birth, to also administer to them or teach them or educate them at least that they must have the vaccination done which can prevent their child from getting hepatitis. There are many schemes of the Government of India which I notice and which I work for, whether it be Swachh Bharat, whether it be Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. And I notice that there's some kind of a similarity in a lot of what happens. Dr. Prasad mentioned about Swachh Bharat, and as you know, which the speakers before me have educated you, that hepatitis A and E are waterborne viruses, and they can be prevented provided we have a clean atmosphere. And that goes along with what Swachh Bharat means. Education, and education particularly for the Beti, is very important. I've always maintained, and so have many other great philosophers of life, that when you educate a man, you educate an individual. When you educate a woman, you educate an entire family. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where I feel we must bring our attention to, that all our women need to be educated so that they can impart that education at the time, let us say, for example, with the Anganwadi or the housewife in our villages and in our rural areas that need this attention most importantly. I have very little else to say, except that I look forward to the time and energy and my dedication and my devotion to this very worthy cause. I am here for you any time of the day or night, in whatever way you wish for me to represent this cause. I have dedicated myself to several other causes, and whatever you will designate for me, I shall be most willing to do that. I wish to thank all the organizers today, and I wish to say that may there be many such occasions when we can all meet and discuss and leave our impressions, because many a times people come and talk and go away. Perhaps that implies for me as well. I will stand in front of a camera and I will recite a few lines which are hepatitis promotional and go away. But I want to reiterate to the World Health Organization and to the Government of India and to all the associations that are going to be working, that please pay attention to that worker that will go out and propagate this cause right down to the common man. He's the most important person. I say this because when we worked for polio and its eradication, and the fact that we achieved this great victory in making India polio-free, it was that worker who went down to the smallest villages, to the interiors, and it is they whom we need to acknowledge and respect and honor. And they are the people that are going to work for you, sir and ma'am, that will help in propagating this wonderful cause. Please look after them. They are the people that will actually go and work in the fields, and we need to honor them. If ever there is any occasion when they need to be honored and you need my presence there, I shall be more than welcome to be there. Thank you so much.